Hey Debbie, it's Mike Ray. Can you hear me?
I sure can, Mike. How are you tonight?
Good. I'm checking. I'm at a unusual location, so I'm just seeing how my connection is.
You're coming through loud and clear.
Gotcha. Thank you.
hmm Are you there, Mark? I see your mouth moving.
I'm here.
Okay, that's great.
Debbie, are you ready?
We're ready, Judy.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me, Judy?
Hello? Debbie, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Debbie, this is Brian. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I had tested earlier. Judy, are you hearing me now?
It's 6 o'clock. Hello? Hi. Hey, Chris.
We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Oh, okay.
Check your volume.
Oh, let's try that. No, no, nothing there.
Can you hear us, Judy?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, we're here.
Well, I'm so glad. All right. I'm gonna try and launch this meeting. Okay, how's that? Can you hear me? All right, it's 6 o'clock. Let's begin. Welcome to Arlington School District's Board of Directors regular scheduled meeting. And we're going to begin tonight with Dr. Sweeting, who is going to acknowledge the land that we are on tonight.
Good evening. We honor the first peoples of these lands by acknowledging that the area in which we gather is within the traditional territory of the Stillaguamish tribe of Indians. The Stillaguamish people have inhabited these lands and waters since time immemorial, and their ancestors have remained in this territory to this day. The Stillaguamish people have continued to practice the traditional ways of their ancestors of fishing, hunting, and gathering. The Stillaguamish tribe has had these lands and cultural traditions passed on to them by their ancestors, who believe that everything has a spirit and that they are caretakers of these lands and waters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Madam Secretary, could you please call for attendance?
Director Ray,
Here.
Director Kelly,
Here.
President Fay,
Here.
Director Levesque,
Here.
Director Rawson,
Here.
Student Advisor Madeline Andrich, Student Advisor Kyle Schroeder,
Here.
Superintendent Sweeting.
Here.
And we're going to hope that Maddie will show up shortly. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve tonight's agenda. Madam Secretary?
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rawson.
Aye.
Next, we need a motion to approve the regular Zoom meeting minutes from October 25th, 2021.
I move we we approve the regular Zoom meeting minutes from October 25th, 2021.
I second.
Motion and seconded to approve the regular Zoom meeting minutes from October 25th, 2021. Madam Secretary?
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rawson.
Aye.
Could I get a clarification on who did the first motion for that?
You can give it to Mary. That's fine.
Mary was first and who was second?
Mary was
So-
second.
Yeah.
Director Ray was
First, yeah.
Oh, God, thank you.
Right. And next, could I have a motion to approve the special meeting minutes from the event, Community Voices Zoom event on October 28th, 2021.
I move we approve the special meeting minutes from the Community Voices Zoom event on October 28th, 2021.
Director Ray, second.
Thank you. Been motioned and second to approve the event attendance Community Voices Zoom event on October 28th. Madam Secretary?
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rawson.
aye.
All right, we've approved the minutes. We're going to go on to comments from the audience. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone signed up tonight?
We do have someone signed up tonight. Heidi Deskin, are you with us?
Okay. Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Your information, go ahead.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the lunch tables at Howard Middle School. And from my understanding, they're the only school in the district that doesn't have a surface to eat at. It sounds like Post has lunch tables now, and the elementary students eat at their desks in their classrooms, and the high school students have tables to eat at. And I'm just concerned. I feel like Howler has been kind of forgotten, and I would really like for there to be some way for them to have a surface where they can actually eat their lunch on. And so that is just what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Heidi, for coming and talking to us about that. And thank you for helping us understand more what's going on in the schools. Do we have anybody else with hand raised?
Yes, we do. Joe Angelo has his hand raised. Joe, can you hear us?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, we have your information. Joe, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Joe Angulo. I spoke at previous meetings about the hypocrisy of the board holding meetings via Zoom while demanding teachers and students attend classes in person. In the last couple of months, however, I have seen and read numerous reports of anti-vax vaxxers, anti-maskers, and various other flavors of wackadoos, stalking, harassing, threatening, and in some cases assaulting school board members and parents at school board meetings across the country, including here in Snohomish County. Now, I can understand why board members would not want to expose themselves to these type of domestic terrorists. And make no mistake, using illegal threats, intimidation, and/or violence to force a change in policy is terrorism. Due to the trend in violent behavior by extremists in our community, my hope is that the board meetings will be kept remote indefinitely. First is for safety. If parents don't have physical access to the board members and other parents, they can't commit assault during those meetings. And having recordings of the meetings will discourage people from threats and intimidation, knowing those recordings can be used as evidence to prosecute the offenders. Second is equity. Everyone should be able to participate, or at the very least, listen in on meetings. But not everyone can afford to take an evening off work or an evening away from their family to attend in person. And third is to avoid disruptions, since those people who intend to disrupt meetings will have a much more difficult time when muted. So with that said, I really do hope that you guys keep these remote for your safety and those of the other parents in our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joe, for coming. Thank you for consistently coming and talking to the board about questions and concerns. Do we have anybody else with a hand raised that would like to speak tonight?
No, we do not at this time.
All right, then we'll move right on to our.
Oh. Judy, I'm sorry, Judy, someone just raised their hands.
Oh, well, I'm so glad we caught it in time. Good eye, good eye. All right.
Okay. Trina Sanford, can you hear us? Trina, are you there?
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. I wanted to say thank you so much for the grant approval for Math Centers for my kindergarten classroom. So thank you.
Thanks so much for stopping by to notice that we would help notice that. Thank you so much. And that'll be coming up in a little bit, and perhaps we'll hear more from you then. With that, we'll move on to our consent agenda. And if there are no questions or concerns about the consent agenda, could I have a motion to approve it?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Madam Secretary.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rawson.
Aye.
All right, moving on to new business, and we're going to begin tonight with a donation from the Arlington Education Foundation, which we just heard a little bit about a moment ago. And I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Boatman, perhaps.
Yes, good evening, everybody. I am Alan Boatman. My day job is assistant principal at Arlington High School, and in my spare hours, one of the many things I do is I am a member of the Arlington Education Foundation, and specifically for the purposes of tonight, I am also on the projects committee, and it's my honor tonight to announce to you the recipient Fall 2021 Classroom Mini Grants. I do also want to acknowledge Mr. Kevin S., who is unable to be here tonight. Kevin is our projects director, and his loss is my gain. He apparently has a youngster in Taekwondo, has a big night tonight, and so I'm stepping in to cover for him. I also want to acknowledge, because I don't know how many on our projects committee are in the audience tonight, but I just wanted to acknowledge that The AEF Projects Committee is a group of about 6 or 7 of us that are part of the larger AEF board. And so there's a lot of work that, so on, enough about that. I just want to let you know, this is the foundation's 10th year of awarding classroom mini grants. And in those 10 years, we are excited to say that we have provided over $118,000 in grant awards. So this spring, that's our error. It says this fall, it should say this fall, we received 29 applications, and we are excited to fully fund 15 outstanding grant requests. Tonight, we are giving out a total of $830.51 to 15 classroom teachers and or grade teams within. And it's also nice to know that every single one of our schools is represented tonight with the award of at least one grant. And that's something that we work really hard to encourage that in every building. This is a great example of the passion and commitment we have for education in our greater Arlington community. Before I announce the recipients, a little bit about our grants. Applications are distributed to all teachers through their building principal. Included with the application is the scoring criteria we use for our review and approval process. Each application is reviewed against the following criteria. We are looking for applications that have clear standards-based academic goals, provide long-term sustainable benefits, promote inclusion and equity, have an innovative idea or an element of technology, and ideally have an opportunity for family involvement. Grants are structured to limits of $500 for an individual classroom submission or $1,250 for a department or grade team submission. We are hoping that many of the recipients are here on the Zoom tonight. And what I'd like to do at this point, you'd think I would be better at this by now, but I actually haven't shared a lot of documents. So I'm really kind of hoping that this goes okay. If you guys can let me know if you can see your screen, see my screen, it tells me that you can. Everybody good? Can you all see this? Okay. So we'll go ahead and start at the top. And if I'm not looking directly at you, it's because my screen is kind of over this way. It's a little awkward. The first grant, and these are in no particular order, was for $160. It looks like it was an individual grant. The recipient, Stephanie Mandarano, Pioneer Elementary, the application name was the Media Club Equipment. It called for the purchase of a camera for the Media Club at Pioneer Elementary. The Media Club provides video announcements for the school. This new camera will allow 45 fifth graders to engage in the club and participate in the creation of videos focusing on important events happening around the school. It's a great example of what a really good grant would do. The second one is for $781.41. This is a grade team, it looks like, for the Stillaguamish Valley Learning Center, and the title is the Outdoor Learning and Genetics. Specifically, the purchase of supplies including a compost tumbler, greenhouse, and seed heat mat for kindergarten through 8th grade students to participate in dahlia breeding. This will help them learn and understand topics such as genetics, composting, food waste recycling, ecosystems, and gardening. Another great example. The next one is an Eagle Creek team, K5 for $1,250, and it's called Still Growing. And I know that this is a continuation of a lot of really, really good work that the teams at Eagle Creek have done. What they have done with some of their outdoor classrooms and outdoor gardens and other activities. This I believe to be an extension of that. Purchase of fresh compost to improve soil quality of existing garden beds, supplies for the addition of rain barrels in 2 locations, new seeds and labels for spring planting preparations, and the replacement of broken water spouts, spray nozzles, and garden tools. To support the connection of garden science to social studies, a portion of this grant will also be used to support guest speakers and purchase books that teachers can use to teach about soil, worms, compost, water cycles, and water conservation. That's a good one. The next one, $299, is from Eagle Creek, the purchase of a 1-year subscription to Hear Builder. This will be for the learning support of children struggling with phonological awareness, direction following, and auditory comprehension for grade at Eagle Creek. The next one, Mr. Farrell at Weston, $503.55. The purchase of hands-on tools to advance 10th and 11th grade skills in geometry and trigonometry. Tools to be purchased include compass kits for geometry, pattern blocks, and tessellation templates for use by the students to ensure good success in and enhance the current curriculum. The next one, $476.26, comes from Kent Prairie Elementary. Hispanic students reading equity for CIA accelerated reader, bilingual, and Spanish language books. This one calls for the purchase or allows Spanish books for Robbins Classroom Library books and the Accelerated Reader books for sharing in the classroom, targeted to support literacy, both for ELL students and their families. That's a big key right there. The classroom community will benefit from the renewed focus that all students read at level books, regardless of language, the sharing of bilingual books, and inclusivity during read aloud time. I'm going through these pretty fast, and if you have questions, I certainly will take them. I hope you guys know that. The next one is for a team at Eagle Creek. Looks like the 4th grade team for $1,250. Purchase of t-shirts for over 100 4th graders to use in creating a wearable book report. The shirt to highlight a separate story element from their book of their choice, Students not only wear the book report, but practice public speaking skills in delivering a report to their peers in the classroom. Funds will also be t-shirts for 4th graders that accept and complete the challenge of reading 40 books in 4th grade, called the 40 Book Challenge, where students are expected to read books of their choice at reading level across 9 literary genres. The shirts are awarded upon completion of the challenge and feature a dragon with the phrase, "I burned through 40 books in 4th grade." That one sounds like a lot of fun. $270 to another Eagle Creek. A little spot of feelings and emotions. This calls for the purchase of books for 2nd grade Eagle Creek classroom libraries that are focused on social emotional learning. These little SPOT books will help young readers discuss and deal with challenging topics, which also help the students identify, talk about, and regulate their emotions. I think that's awesome. The next one is coming from Pioneer Elementary, $209.29, supporting inclusion of all students through picture books. The purchase of a collection of picture books that will be used by Pioneer staff to guide classroom communities in building and supporting a strong, genuine, inclusive community. Picture books selected will focus on a wide variety of social emotional topics to benefit students and teacher staff as those topics arise. Books will be housed in the teacher resource section of the library for easy access by school staff for many years to come. A large grant here from the 5th grade elementary team at President's Elementary for $1,250, motivating minds, bringing math to life with literature and games. This one allows for the purchase of high quality, rigorous and engaging math games and conceptual literature for use in 4 fifth grade classrooms. The math games selected will teach important math concepts in a fun way and foster strategic and logical thinking. All righty, the next one, we're down to the last 5 here. 500 goes to President's Elementary. The application is a picture book library that promotes diversity and inclusion. The purchase of picture books to engage kindergartners in their learning by creating a classroom library of stories about inclusion and diversity. Books selected will include topics of cultural, family, racial, and ability diversity. Another one for $500 goes to President's Elementary. Jennifer, titled one, Equity Books for All. This is the purchase of books for her classroom library that represent different month celebrations throughout the school year, including Hispanic Heritage Month, Learning Disability Awareness Month, Native American Heritage Month, Month of Gratitude with the Still-Squamish Tribe, Month of Service, MLK Black History Month, Women's History Month, American Heritage Month, Asian American and Pacific Islander Month, Jewish American Heritage Month, and LGBTQ plus Pride Month. You can really see kind of a common theme this year with a lot of our grants. The final 3 here, $300 to Jennifer Ann Spa at Eagle Creek, SPL Supplies for Therapy. This one is pretty cool. It's the purchase of speech therapy materials that will be used in speech therapy sessions. These materials will assist in speech practice, help streamline speech therapy goals, and reduce preparation time, allowing for more focus on the students and to help provide a variety of these for the students. Materials will include a mouth model, card decks, language activities, books, and visual aids to support speech and language therapy at Eagle Creek Elementary. And the last 2 that were accepted, math centers, Pioneer Elementary, the purchase of hands-on developmentally appropriate math centers for kindergarten that support Common Core learning targets. Centers will include games, hands-on manipulatives, number mats, and other materials to engage students in math practice and gain number sense. I'm gonna need a drink of water after this. And the last one is from Miss Daly over Culturally Diverse Classroom Library. This will allow her to purchase books for her classroom library that focus on diversity and inclusion, with the focus of providing better engagement for all students' literacy success. Her young readers will recognize themselves and their experiences in the pages of the books to be purchased, allowing them to feel enriched and inspired by learning of other people's cultures and journeys. So, again, if I didn't say it before, I'm just going to say it now. I have no way of knowing how many of the recipients might be here on the Zoom tonight. I also know, as you heard me say, that we had 29 applications, and just a certain amount of money to work with, and this year we were able to fund 15 of them. So I want to give a special thank you to each and every one of you, the board, for your continued support of this foundation, and also to all of the teachers and other district staff that are out there that have benefited tonight and perhaps benefited in the past for some of these amazing grants. I just want to thank each and every one of you for all you do for the students of Arlington Public Schools. Thank you.
Alan, can I ask a quick question for you?
Yes.
Thank you. I was curious because I don't have enough background, but how does the foundation raise the money then? How do you accumulate the funds to then offer the grant money for the teachers?
Yeah, that's a really, really solid question. There are a series of fundraisers that are set up throughout the year. I know that it's been a little bit tougher over the last year and a half for many of the fundraisers, but some that jump to my mind, and man, if anybody else on the AEF board was here, you may just jump in, but right now I'm kind of wishing you did. But I know that the Santa program that you've seen at President's Elementary each year, prior to COVID, I know we work very hard on putting that together. That's a real nice fundraiser. We have had a wine night in August, September, October-ish of each year. That has been a real nice fundraiser. We have done 4th of July the city down at Evans Field for the fire. It's been done in the past, and several others. So we rely a lot on those. We also rely a lot on staff donations. I know that there's for all staff to have, well, they call that when you can have it come, like a small portion come out of their monthly payroll. I don't know offhand how much we generate from that. I can't recall. But it's things like that. It's a wide variety, always looking for ideas and other things that we can do.
Right. Thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Just an overview. So basically different schools within the district, there's different events that you do throughout the year then that go to that pool of money that make that available and offer that. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ellen, thank you so much for presenting tonight. One of the themes that I saw as you were presenting all of the grants that were granted was books, culturally diverse books. I think 6 of the grants were for those. It definitely looks like Arlington School District needs to find more funds for more books in our classrooms and libraries that support inclusion. So thanks for bringing all of this information forward, and thank you for all the teachers that applied and received, and thanks to those that didn't receive, but try again for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all.
All right, then we'll move right on to our next item, which is, wait, we need a motion. Do I need a motion to accept this donation? Yeah. Could I have a motion to accept this donation from the Arlington Education Foundation for the 2021 Fall Mini Grants?
I make a motion that we accept the grant for the money for the 2021 Arlington Education Foundation.
I second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded to accept the donation from Arlington Education Foundation 2021 Fall Mini Grant. Madam Secretary.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rossen.
Aye.
All right, moving on to item B under new business, federal grant from Washington State Department of Health for Learn to Return program. And our district nurse, Krista Kramer, is going to help us understand that.
Good evening, directors. I heard of a grant to apply for through the Learn to Return program. This was my first attempt at a grant, so this is all very new to me. The nurses in the area were talking about how there was a grant for eligible recipients in schools that were hiring contact tracers and health room assistants and testing support and all these things that come with COVID. And so I asked the Department of Health to fund us for a total and split up between different positions for 5 FTEs. And they awarded us $490,585. So that was pretty great. I'm excited for that. So please accept this grant.
Well, that's pretty amazing. It's the first grant that you've ever written to come back with $490,000. Well done.
Thank you. I was surprised. But now where do I go from here? Gosh, that's what I was thinking.
Be careful what you start, Krista. You might be finding yourself in a new role. Grant writer might be calling you.
Well done and so exciting to see that we're going to be able to add more staffing to desperately needed. Well done. So with that, we need a motion to accept this wonderful grant.
I move that we accept the Learn to Return grant program.
I'll
A second.
Thank you. It's been motioned and seconded to accept the grant from Washington State Department of Health Return Program. Madam Secretary?
Director Ray,
Enthusiastic aye for $500,000. Great job.
Yeah. Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rossin.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right. We really like that one. Could we do more of those? Chris, keep those coming at us. That was so fun. All right. Next on the agenda is item C, academic and student well-being efforts and opening schools update for 2021-22. And Dr. Sweeting, you'll give us that update.
Good evening again. I'm going to be joined with other staff who will have parts in this presentation. Krista Kramer, District Nurse, Eric DeYoung, Executive Director of Human Resources, and Carrie Henderson Burke, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning. Before we move into the rest of the presentation, I wanted to start by saying that responding to the COVID-19 impacts has required a lot of work. It's required a lot of work and commitment and dedication from everyone. And everyone working together, where we basically have fostered ongoing compassion. We've rise above the crisis fatigue that is in front of us and among us and remain resilient. We've had to maintain courage and strength of character, which by the way is grit by definition. And we've had to leverage creativity and listen to feedback to make better decisions and to remain flexible, but most importantly, keep hope alive. So tonight, the beginning of this presentation is an opportunity for a special thank you from the board and myself to our staff. And I'm going to start by reading a letter from myself to the staff. Dear amazing Arlington staff, I would like to express my tremendous gratitude to each of you for the ongoing hard work you are doing every day to support our students, families, and each other. Your dedication and incredible care for and commitment to our students is commendable. You have tirelessly stepped up in so many ways, and I appreciate this so much. You continue to be first and ongoing responders for our students. And you do this by fostering compassion daily, rising above the present crisis fatigue, by staying resilient, by being courageous, by building forward from your strength of character, by leveraging creativity from all angles, by remaining flexible, and by keeping hope alive for our students, each other, and yourself. I want you to know how important you are and how much I appreciate your hard work, and the board appreciates your hard work. Thank you for your support and your continued commitment as we work together to keep everyone safe and carry out our important mission to educate, prepare, and inspire each Arlington student. You are more than amazing. And each board member is going to say something right now, and we are giving this moment to our staff and thanking them. So who would like to be next?
I can go first. Go ahead, Mary, if you raised your hand, that's
I
more
raised my
appropriate.
hand like a good student because I had good teachers, Mark. I want to say thank you also to the staff, dear staff. I admire your grace. I admire your courage, and your compassion, and your courtesy to all kids, even some of the prickly ones. I'm in awe of your ability to capture their attention, provide care, and teach, and share your enthusiasm and excitement for all the subjects with all of your goodness and compassion. And I admire your resiliency. I appreciate your ability to pivot and make changes, make corrections, and recover from difficulties, and keep on showing up and being there for our students. Your toughness is stronger than these tough times. I admire your tenacity. You have not let go of your passion for teaching. You are firm and steadfast, and I am very grateful for your patience and your persistence during this very peculiar period.
Thank you, Mary. That was beautiful. Another board member?
I'd be happy to. I'm grateful, Chris and Mike, for helping us come up with this idea. To take just a moment tonight to thank our staff. Arlington School District has much to be thankful for in its committed and caring staff. Each teacher, nurse, counselor, secretary, custodian, IT support, paraprofessional, food service, and bus driver are all active participants in the teaching and learning of our children. Thank you to each of you for being willing and able to adapt on a moment's notice, sacrifice your own family's needs, and keep loving children in the midst of uncertainty and angst. I wish I could give you a world where money for education was no object and it was the highest priority. If I could, there would only be 12 students in a class. So real recovery from this pandemic could happen. Every teacher would have their own support staff and an office and a printer. In this wishful world, the buildings where our children go to school would be safe and appealing, powered by green energy in a new post-middle school. I'm not able to give you those things. All I can give you is the gratitude from this community that greatly appreciates its school staff for a job well done every day. Thanks.
Thanks, Judy. Another board member?
Oh, I guess I'll go. Gosh, everybody picks the greatest adjectives. Feel like there's nothing left for me to say. I feel, first of all, I have amazing gratitude for really all levels of staff at our community. It really is the tenacity, the stick-to-itiveness, and really holding the children at the center of what this has been. I've had my opportunity to be in the classroom myself, so I have experienced firsthand the relevance of why we're here. And I appreciate wholeheartedly your willingness to stay the course, and through your tenacity and your generosity in time as well as spirit, it's what gets us through. So thank you. And I also appreciate the connections we've made and how we have fostered those, really understanding the relationships with each other as staff and holding that so important in this time, because it has made us stronger as a community. And I can see through the various weekly announcements that everyone is just working hard from their perspective to again help us to move forward, and all levels. No one has not participated in making this worthy, right? And I just really appreciate that. I appreciate that everyone has stepped up on some level to be there for our students. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. Okay, Next board member.
I guess it's me. So I guess I must have missed the memo because I don't have, I never got told by Mike that we were doing this, but you know, I'm never at shortage for words. So I truly want to thank all of the staff. I mean, I get a chance to see it every day with a teacher coming home from a long, hard day of dealing with all of the things that all of the teachers deal with every day. And so, you know, you really feel it. Like Sherry, it's like, it's very emotional when I talk about it. So it's kind of hard for me to, you know, talk about the details. But I hear it, and I know that this the stress, and that you called it the crisis fatigue, I think, or something like that. So it weighs heavily on everybody, and it just never seems to end. And the amount of help that the community needs to bring to all of the Arlington School District staff, I think, is really important, because they need to know the communities behind them. But it's hard when you're overwhelmed and you don't know where to turn. And I don't care whether you're a PSC member or an AEA member or in the leadership team somewhere. All of us are under this huge amount of stress associated with coming in every day and coming in and once again taking on the challenges that we all see every day. We talked about the level of staffing. I'm really happy that we're getting some more nursing help, because obviously this is huge, but it's for everybody. So if half of your class is below grade level, dealing with that and trying to run a one-room schoolhouse where usually you're only teaching one grade and now you're teaching 4 or 5 grades because the kids are behind. So, you know, that's a huge challenge for any educator who wants to see a year's growth associated with all of their students. But it's hard to do a year's growth when you have some kids who can't write their own name in 2nd grade. So, you know, that's just really, really soul searching, hard to do every day to go in and deal with that. So I really appreciate all of the educators. I also appreciate all of the PSC members who are out there doing all of their jobs, and, you know, for all of the paras that are there, you know, side by side with all of the kids that need the special help and the one-on-one, and really have to, you know, they can't ignore it. They have to, you know, you hear it in their voices and you see it in their faces. So I just really appreciate all of the hard work that people are doing to soldier on and do it one more day. And at this point, that's what we can do, just one more day. So thank you.
Mark, thank you. Your words are wonderful and beautiful in every way. So Mike, I'll have you finish this portion of the presentation.
I don't, there's been a lot of.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
We know everybody's still working hard, adjusting, and the board is doing everything that we can think.
Mike, somehow we're not hearing you for most of what you're saying. Mike, are you there?
Any better on the no video side?
Okay, maybe keep talking. Let me see. Still can't hear you.
For all your hard work.
Thanks, Mike. We didn't hear, but we heard the very last thing where you said, thanks for all your hard work. So that was the key message. So we know that you had many good things to say in between. We just didn't catch it. So maybe there'll be another opportunity when the connection's a little bit better and we could
I'll
hear.
do it.
Okay. So we're going to move on and
Dr. Sweeting, Maddie,
Yes.
do you have something you want to say also?
Yep. Maddie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say
Thanks.
thank you again to all the teachers because I mean, it's really such a difference when you're in school and seeing this year, you can really tell how much the teachers love us and you can really see their love through their teaching. And honestly, this past year, it's really shown you how grateful, especially for me, how grateful I am to be in a community that has as many opportunities as we do with Running Start, the Only Online program and Weston and all of that. And I just want to say thank you to the district, especially, and for the teachers for opening those opportunities, because I know that without the teachers, we wouldn't have those opportunities. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Well, I better make sure. Kyle, do you have some words for us?
Absolutely. Just like Maddie said, it's a lot easier to see this year, all the hard work that goes on, especially now that I'm here and I'm like going on all the board meetings. It's easier to see really what's behind the scenes, and it's not just what I get to see as a student in the classroom. It's a lot more eye-opening, I think, to be here. And I think I just wanted to say thank you to everybody, just the same. So thank you to all the teachers and all the people working in the school district, making our lives what they are.
Thank you, Kyle, very much.
Thank you.
Before I move on to the next slide, I want to make sure, any other comments? The key message, we are very grateful. We are deeply grateful for our staff. So with that, we'll go on to hearing about our regional and local health metrics, the update, and it's going to be Krista Kramer, our district nurse.
Good evening again. Okay, let's talk our numbers. Next slide, please, Dr. Sweeting.
Oh, where did that go? Just a sec. Oh, there it is.
There.
Wait. I put it in the wrong order, Krista. Sorry. There you go.
Okay, so to see a good note here, our numbers went down a little bit in Snohomish County. So that is good news, good to look at, to 362, I believe. The numbers are kind of scrunched up there over the last 2-week period. I will say, and I think I can speak from the nurses out in the buildings, we haven't quite seen that in our buildings yet. Our buildings are busy, the nurses are hopping with lots of contact tracing and COVID. So our numbers are still high, but it is really nice to see that they're on the downward trend here finally again. Next slide, please. Dr. Sweeting asked me to speak regarding our meeting last Tuesday with Dr. Spitters. And so his message, he had been absent maybe a week or two before. He has been out of town. And so he just brushed up on the vaccines for our 5 to 12-year-old population. He said in Snohomish County, we have about 75,000 that fall into that category in the school age setting. He predicts about 1/3 to 2/3 of the population in that group will seek out vaccinations. And so with those that seek out vaccinations, just a reminder to our staff that it's still a 2-dose series. They'll be receiving 1/3 of the adult dose, the physical dose, but it's still a 2-dose series. And so we know once they start that vaccination process, and then 4 weeks later, they get their second one, and 2 weeks after that, they are then fully covered. So his message was, we still have a little ways to go. It won't be a really fast process. He also really wanted to point out that in the 5 to 12-year-old population, those are our younger groups, and his preference really, well, he wants them all to be vaccinated, but second to that, that they seek a vaccination through their primary care doctor. This also gives them the opportunity to get that well-child checkup, or, you know, little kids and shots. I don't know how many of you have attempted that with youngsters, but it can be a challenge, not like the adults, you know, that sit there very still and are very willing to get a vaccination. Sometimes these younger ones don't fall into that category. He also said retail pharmacies are offering doses, and then there are a few other opportunities out and about. And I was just reading on the Snohomish County site that they are offering vaccinations down South Linwood, but not for the 5 to 12-year-old population at the drive-through sites. They still recommend that primary care doctor or a retail pharmacy. Next slide, please. And so right now, our district totals that are currently on our website that Mr. Gary Sable updates for us every Friday afternoon, 45 as of last Friday, 45 positive cases, and our close contacts went up from last time we reported to 134 as of last Friday. Next slide, please. And then this as well updated just to so you can see the totals per building. Grand totals are on the far right. We've added that column in the last couple of weeks, and then our current positives and close contacts per building.
Thanks, Krissa.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So the next slide is I'm going to invite Eric DeYoung, Executive Director of Human Resources, to talk about our high need for substitutes. So Eric.
Yes, good evening, everybody. As you probably know, this has been a challenging year for our teachers, but also when they're gone, for finding enough substitutes. And for a variety of reasons, you know, some of our substitutes have not continued with us. Maybe they're meant to want to get the vaccine, or they don't want to deal with the mandate or exemptions, those kinds of things. So they've just not been subbing with us. You can go to the next slide, Chris. That'd be great. So we have on a daily basis, we have between 25 and 30 substitutes working in the district. That's certified and classified. That could be higher or lower than that number, but typically that's what you're going to see on a daily basis. And we also have between 5 to 7 unfilled positions every day. And again, that's teachers, classified staff. And up to like one a building, and sometimes we've had multiple in a building that have gone unfilled. So that's where other teachers are filling in on their planning period, or they're at the elementary level, maybe taking a few extra students from another classroom to have, since there's no substitute. So it's been a real challenge for us this year, finding enough subs. Also, our principals have been filling in. Some of our directors have filled in. So it's been a real team effort to try to fill those spots. And we realize it's been a real impact on our buildings, on our administrators, on our teachers, on our classified staff as well. Our secretaries are working really hard to try to get subs in. There's just simply no one left to call. We have everybody in, you know, that's willing to work is already working. So we've been working on trying to increase our sub pool a couple of different ways. We've had substitute postings for our certificated and classified. We brought on some folks, but as a great example, for our certified posting, we had 33 individuals who completed their applications. By the time we were able to hire them, we only had 5 left that we could actually onboard into the subpool, because the others had already been hired in leave replacement positions in our district or in other districts. So simply just not enough. I mean, there's just a lot of demand out there for teachers. We also onboarded some classified staff substitutes. And we currently have a posting for emergency substitutes. So emergency substitutes are employees who do not have a teaching certificate. So these are maybe people that have a bachelor's degree, maybe not even a bachelor's degree, maybe an AA degree. They could be currently in a teaching program, but don't have their certificate yet. So a variety of different people, maybe they're changing fields. So it's allowed by law when you have a substitute shortage to be able to do these emergency substitutes. So we've done it in the past, quite a few different years when our sub pool is really low. And we've brought on people here and there. You don't usually get a lot of people, and there's a lot of effort that goes in, and potentially not a lot of return on the investment at certain times, because you may train somebody, spend some time training and onboarding, and then that person tries it out for a couple of days and decides it's not for them. And so we will definitely are trying that at this point. We do have 18 applicants for the emergency substitute program. For our first posting, we have another posting that's also that we opened right after closing that first posting. So we're going to try 2 rounds this time. And so hopefully we'll be able to bring some more people on. It's usually a two-day training. So we have a day in the sort of just training, talking about classroom management, teaching practices, what it just means to how you do the subbing, what's it entailed, how you check into the office. I mean, all the basics, right? These are people that do not necessarily, everybody's been in a classroom, they just haven't been in charge of the classroom. So there's a big difference between being a student and being the teacher. And then we'll typically have them go out and observe in classrooms for 1 day, 2 days, however many days they want, until they feel comfortable taking over a classroom of their own. We always try to let principals know too, if there's someone that's there, this is their first couple times in the classroom, to keep an eye on them. So it's definitely not our first choice to do the emergency substitute program, but it's definitely an option, and other districts are doing it now as well. So that's where we are with substitutes. We're trying to bring everybody on. So if anybody out there knows somebody who has their teaching certificate, especially, those are the ones we really like. But if you know somebody with a teaching certificate that's willing to come sub for us, or maybe doesn't have anything else going on right now, and you can, hey, why don't you go sub? Arlington really needs some subs right now. That would be great. We'd appreciate that help. Classified ranks as well. So if you know anybody, if you have retired friends, those kinds of things, give them our number. The positions are open on the website.
Thank you, Eric. So next, moving on to supporting the academic and student well-being efforts, I wanted to talk a little bit about our efforts to focus on building the capacity of our staff to do this work. They're working so hard, and we want to provide the resources, and part of the resources includes professional development. This is a graphic that we shared with staff at the beginning of the school year. It shows that in the center of our efforts is our strategic plan, and those goals that are there, goal 1, 2, 3, and 4, are in our strategic plan. Goal 1 being our focus, increase in student learning and achievement, and the other goals 2, 3, and 4 support that work. And around the circle there are colorful shapes, and those shapes have words on them that represent professional learning development areas. So leadership and instructional practices, professional learning communities, social emotional learning, culturally responsive practices, and multi-tier systems of support. So all of those are areas where we have outcomes for professional learning. And so we've had this wonderful opportunity this year where we have early dismissals for 1 hour and 15 minutes on Fridays. And I'm going to invite Carrie Henderson-Burke to share what's taking place with the early dismissals on Friday for professional development.
Thank you, Dr. Sweeting. This is Carrie Henderson Burke, Executive Director of Teaching and Learning. And one of the many changes that this board has overseen has been that Friday early release day. Prior to this year, we had early release days that were a little less than half day, about once a month. And the move to early release Fridays has allowed us to address the learning of the adults in our system in smaller snippets, but with greater frequency. So it's a good teaching and learning model for the adults in our system. What you're looking at on screen is just a quick snapshot of how we have planned out and continue to plan out Friday early release days. So you're looking at 3 different schools and the plans that would fit on the screen. So Post, Arlington High School, and Weston with Open Doors. First, let's talk about the color coding. You'll see some things that are in lavender. Those are teacher-directed days. We have about 8 of our Friday, early release Fridays dedicated for teachers to make their own choices and do what they need to do for their own learning and classroom supports. We know that's really important. When we had our previous early release system, there were also days that were dedicated to teachers saying, this is what I need to do this afternoon, so I'm going to do it. So again, we have the same amount of time as previously, but more frequency, shorter snippets. In the green on Weston Open Doors, green days are set aside for grading days. And elementaries historically have had 2 half days dedicated to grading or conference preparation. And our secondary schools had 1 day at semester break, a non-student day, and that was carved out for a full day's worth of grading time for them. So again, more frequency, shorter snippets dispersed across the year potentially. Several of our secondary schools opted to continue to have that full day carve out at semester break day. I think it's January 31st this year. So the rest of the designations that you see are the times dedicated to building work and district work centered on that universal SIP goal that we keep bringing up, where we're increasing teacher efficacy in Tier 1 instruction through variability and firm goals with flexible means. So we just wanted you to see or have a snapshot of what the planning looks like, because even though, as you well know, COVID has brought us numerous challenges, shall we say, and demanded a great deal of our time, the work of teaching students, it goes on, it marches on, and that's why we're here. COVID takes time, but teaching is where we want to be and where we want to spend our time. So this is our Friday early release schedule. It is subject to change, and just by way of information, these calendars were assembled as a collaborative effort with building leadership teams and building administration teams and district administration. So that's just what we wanted to highlight tonight for how we're supporting teachers with continued learning in the middle of crisis fatigue and in the middle of managing COVID along with teaching and learning.
Thank you, Carrie. So the last is just what questions does the board have or thoughts for us? And I'm going to stop sharing.
I had a question for Eric on subbing. Are we paying $200 a day, $250 a day, $150 a day? What's our current rate?
Current rate for in teaching is $180 a day, and that's been increased from last year. That's consistent with most of our neighbors, not all of our neighbors, but we're definitely right there, like with Lakewood, Stanwood, which are our main competitors.
And how long does it take to do the emergency training?
Well, it depends. There's the application process, then we have to then onboard them. So there's fingerprinting and there's lots of paperwork type stuff. And then there are 2 days of training at minimum, 2 days of training. That includes the observation in the classroom. And some people will elect to do more days of observation in the classroom.
And
so
are they paid for the 2 days of training?
Typically we haven't paid them for it.
So I come in for 2 days unpaid, and then I have an opportunity to earn $180 for the actual day I work.
Correct. Right. And part of that too is we don't know for sure if people are going to finish the training. I mean, we don't know if they're really going to actually do the job. So there's nothing they sign when they come in to do the training, but we've, typically not had everybody complete the training. There are some districts that require them to go through training prior to even showing up in the district. So, we're trying to, and we could consider paying people, but we haven't done it in the past, and we still end up getting some folks to stick it out with us.
How many people did you say had applied for the current?
At this point, 18.
18. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a pretty good number.
And all these people have college degrees, and they're all coming in for 2 days of training unpaid and for an opportunity to earn $180 a day as an emergency sub.
Right. Those 18 all have college degrees. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question, Eric. Would it be a consideration for kind of what Mark is leading to is, or what I'm taking from what Mark's bringing up? If there was a contingency where we're not paying you for the 2 days of training. However, if you were to stay be on board as a sub for after 3 months, after 90 days, that might be a bit of an incentive to make the time that you've invested in someone worth their while. And I agree. I think if you're walking in with someone with a degree, albeit a bachelor's degree, not maybe related to education, I think that's respectful of their time and their investment.
Yeah, that's something we can talk about. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Eric, it's Mike Reed. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Mike.
Hey, yeah, I was just going to say, great job, Sherry. I was going to say exactly that. You sub 10 times in a classroom, and there's some incentive to back pay you for those 2 training days or whatever it is, something like that.
Yeah, keep in mind, people with a teaching certificate have done a lot of training on their own to get a teaching certificate, and we're not paid for getting their teaching certificate either. So these are people that are coming in to, basically bypass a teaching certificate to get that pay. So it's a little bit different situation, I guess. But we definitely can consider it. It is, pretty unique time right now. So, the more people we can get into the system, the better.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. Not knowing the ins and outs of it, and letting you guys make all the hard decisions there with your vast experience. But yeah, like you said, we're in a very unique time frame, and whatever we can do to retain some folks and get some folks to actually sub in the class and be effective is worth it, in my opinion. Thanks, Eric.
Yep, you bet.
If there are no more questions, President Fay, I think we're finished with this presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Sweeting, for all the updates, and thank you for the rest of your staff for updating us. All right, we'll move on to item B under new business, levy funded construction program updates. And Brian Lewis, will you explain that to us, please?
Brian may be having some technical difficulties. He had to join us by phone. We're getting the presentation ready. Brian, are you there?
President Fay, I'm not sure if he's going to get connected or not. We may have to Debbie, has he contacted you? Is he?
Hello?
Oh, I think I hear you, Brian.
I think I'm going to try and connect through my internet for a while, but there's no guarantees because it might go back down again. So I apologize for that. Having some connectivity issues out here today. So can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to get going. At the February 2020 election, Arlington School District voters approved a capital levy to improve the school district's student capacity, building security, utility efficiency, and extend the useful life of existing buildings. Tonight's briefing provides an update regarding levy-funded projects completed in 2021 so far, projects currently in process, and project planning for 2022. Next slide, please. So again, this is the items that we're going to be talking about. I'm also going to give you an update on the demographic studies that we've contracted for. Next slide, please. Our project team is Arlington School District staff. I'm very grateful to all of our staff that have participated in the design process of our current additions and upcoming additions. McGranahan Architects and Owen Consulting both began working with Pioneer, President's Elementary, and Weston High School staff over the past week to begin the planning process for the projects that we've got coming up in the summer of 22. This is our project team, and they've been doing a great job. Next slide, please. Our current financial position, you can see the site name on this table has 3 columns. The site name on the left-hand side, our original budget plus contingency budget planned at each site, and then what we believe our current expenditures and contingency budget expenditures are going to be, and with the inclusion of the School Construction Assistance Program funding that we became eligible for following the passage of the levy in the beginning of construction at Arlington High School. So bottom line, our original budget was $24,920,000. With the inclusion of the School Construction Assistance Program funds, our current expenditure budget looks like it's going to be closer to $19.5 million. So we're doing really well. I don't want to jinx it, of course, but by patting ourselves on the back too hard, we've still got a ways to go in completion of many of the projects that were scheduled in the building program. But just putting in the dipstick right now, it looks like we've got adequate funding capacity remaining to complete the jobs. Next slide, please. The current conditions that we've been dealing with, of course, COVID-19 is at the top of the disruptions that we've been experiencing. Our supply chain has been adversely affected in many ways. Some of the items that we're having trouble acquiring in a timely manner include extruded aluminum. This is important for us because extruded aluminum is used to make the storefront entryways for our secured entries and for our glass, to hold our glass inside of our buildings. Tempered glass that goes inside of those aluminum frames. We've had problems obtaining some steel building components and had to switch over to a different form of building component, it's still steel, but it's not the component that was specified by the architects. We've had to re-engineer the roof structure at the Arlington High School addition to incorporate different building components. We've had issues in obtaining flooring, doors, the kinds of doors that go inside of office areas or on classrooms. Construction labor has been disrupted due to quarantines or actual outbreaks of COVID amongst construction crews. And then warehouses and trucking, all part of the supply chain itself, have experienced the same kinds of problems that we've experienced in terms of scheduling disruptions. So this is all not meant to be an excuse, but we do have a delay from our original schedule in terms of completing the secured entryway at Arlington High School and the additions, the classroom addition at Arlington High School as well. We had anticipated completing those projects by December 30th of 2021. Now our completion date looks like it's going to be around February 11th of 2022. The secured entryway at Arlington High School, while incomplete, is still functional and it's still safe. And we do have time set aside when students aren't there for our construction crews to get back inside of the buildings. They're going to be working over the winter break to complete the secured entryway. We do anticipate that part being completed in January. The Arlington High School, the classroom addition, we do expect that, as well as the scene shop, to be completed by February 11th of 2022. Next slide, please. So these are the projects that we completed in 2020, 2021 at Arlington High School, Weston and Post, the cameras, door locks, and access controls, and at Eagle Creek Elementary as well. At Post Middle School, we've got cameras, door locks, and access controls as well, and a perimeter fence installed. Kent Prairie, we replaced the floor coverings throughout the building. At Kent Prairie and Eagle Creek, we've revived the operable gym and stage wall that was currently not operating. We had to get these components operating in order to install the flooring in both multi-purpose rooms and to continue to have a good experience with that floor over time, as the operable gym wall and stage wall were not functioning the way that they should have been functioning at both sites. But we've restored that functionality and brought it back, given it some new life with some new coverings on the walls themselves. And then at Kent Prairie, Eagle Creek, and Howler Middle School, we finished the secured entryways over the summer of 2021. Next slide, please. So this is an image of the folding wall, the operable wall at Kent Prairie. It is a relatively complex system, and as part of the improvements, we're also going to be making sure that our crews are trained on how to operate these walls. You can see that there's a passage door embedded inside of one of the panels. Those panels all have new coverings on them so that they match the rest of the building. And these walls are operating now, and they're in really good condition. I'm very pleased with their with the capability that they bring to our schools. Next slide, please. This is Howler, the secured entryway at Howler Middle School. You can see the bulk of the construction is towards the rear of the photo. That's the storefront entryway that I was referring to earlier, with the aluminum frames and the tempered glass built into it. This secured entryway has got motorized doors on the right-hand side of it as you're facing them. So someone who's needs assistance opening a door can just push a button on the side of the wall, inside or outside, and that'll open the door for them. These doors remain locked throughout the day, as well as the exterior doors at the request of the building staff, to make sure that people who are coming in for entry into the school building have a real purpose to be there. The A-phone systems that we had installed at Howler prior to the entry, this installation of the secured entryway, are still in place. So a person calls in from the A-phone on the exterior of the building. We open that door from inside. They come into the secured entryway, and we vet them at that point, find out if they've got a reason to come inside of the building. And if they do, then we can unlock the interior doors and let them in to the building through the interior doors as well. These doors also have access control systems installed on them, so badge holders can just swipe on the pad at the front of the door and unlock the door using that method as well. It's tantamount to having a key to open the door. The transaction window you see on the right-hand side is new. That was installed as part of the secured entry, so staff can have a conversation or exchange packages or documents with someone without them having to come inside of the building. Next slide, please. So this is a before picture of Kent Prairie Elementary prior to having the secured entry installed. Next slide. And this is an after. You can also see here the first element that you see of the secured entry when you come onto the site is the bollards installed in the cement sidewalk outside. This is to prevent a car or another vehicle from driving into the entryway of the facility. This happened at Meridian School District in August. A person drove in through the glass storefront of the high school building and was able to gain access to the rest of the building. They ran upstairs to the second floor science lab and destroyed the lab. So it does happen. And so we installed these bollards here at KP at Eagle Creek. They'll also be part of the design consideration for President's President's Pioneer and Weston when we get there this summer. So you can see the aluminum storefront installed around the what was formerly the overhang, and then the doors with access controls installed on inside of the storefront. Next slide, please. This is what I think. Did you go past one? Is there another one there, Debbie? Okay, that other picture's with Eagle Creek. Sorry. Okay, so this is a rendering of what the school logo will look like on the wall inside of the entryway once it's installed. Those are in the process of being printed right now by a die cut printer, and then they'll come in and install. You can see there's color matching elements on the doors and the check-in window. Next slide, please. And this is Eagle Creek's secured entry after following installation. You can see the bollards there as well. Next slide. The check-in window there. The window is three-part. It's got a grate in the center panel to speak, so conversations can be had through that panel there. There's also a depression underneath the window there that documents can be passed back and forth through, or we can open the window and let people pass documents or packages back and forth that way. We can also check a person in to the building if they're registered and safe visitor or not. We can scan their ID through the glass and print them a badge and hand it to them through the window, and then push a button that's inside of the office area and open the interior doors. Next slide, please. Again, this is the same artist rendering of the entryway with the logo that's going to be installed on the wall. Create a more welcoming environment for folks as they come inside of the building. Next slide. Okay, so projects in process right now, or at the time of I submitted this presentation, Kent Prairie and Eagle Creek, cameras, door locks, and access controls, they should be completed at this point. Arlington High School, classroom additions, secured entryway, and scene shop are still in process. And then Pioneer, Presidents, and SVLC, cameras, door locks, and access controls are in the planning process, or there may have been some installation work already begun there as well. Next slide, please. Projects underway at Arlington High School, the BPAC, the scene shop attached to BPAC. The next series of images are going to show you across time how the site has changed with the installation or with the construction work that's underway. So this is at the beginning when the earth was being cleared and the site was being prepared. Next slide. This is the foundation and slab for the scene shop, and it's got a vapor barrier now installed on top of it. You can see the beginnings of a structure for enclosure for our dumpsters, recycling garbage out there as well behind the scene shop. Next slide. This is the framing for the scene shop as it's being assembled. See there's posts and the roof structure is taking shape. Next slide. The roof is on now, beginning interior wall assembly. Next slide. Oh, and that's what the current state of that shop or that building right now is, that the interior walls are being finished out and the roof is being finished as well. Now we're moving on to Arlington High School. This is the site cleared and ready for the installation of building components. Next slide. This is the foundation stem walls after they've been poured and they're curing right now. This is the looking at the end of the C wing where the addition is being constructed. Next slide. See, the foundation has been poured and it's cured, and the steel framing has begun, and installation of the steel framing is underway. This steel that you see here is the second floor, the second floor with some posts to hold up the whole assembly. Next slide. The second floor pan, it's called, it's the steel that the concrete floor is poured on. There's a catwalk taking shape above the third, basically the third floor. That's where all the mechanical elements, the HVAC components and plumbing and electrical will be contained up there. You can see it. We had to open up the existing building and provide a passageway for some of the mechanical items to move through. On the right-hand side, you can see on the second floor, there's a doorway that had been cut out that'll be used as part of the access into that classroom. At the front of the addition, what looks like a void there is actually the fabrication shop that's part of the technology workshop. So it's going to have a huge volume of space, and you can see this in following pictures, but that space will be much bigger than a normal classroom to allow for bigger things to happen inside of that space. Next slide, please. You can see again that space is still open. At this point, we've got the roof assembly underway with the decking material, and you can also see the walls taking shape with the installation of the steel walls inside of the building. On the right-hand side, again, towards the front, you can see the space where the roll-up door for access to the scene shop will be installed. And this is going to be pretty impressive when it's completed. Next slide, please. Another look from the side of the technology workshop and the different classrooms. On the first floor, just by way of reminder, there's going to be a lot of space dedicated to a new life skills suite here on the second floor. And that's in addition to the technology workshop that's being placed there as well. On the second floor, there will be general education classrooms. They'll be very flexible in nature. And when we're done with the construction of the addition and moved into it, there's going to be two classrooms, existing classrooms inside of the C wing that are going to be remodeled. One would be the old life skills suite, and that's going to be converted into the new home for the junior ROTC program. And then another classroom that's going to be converted into a science classroom. Next slide, please. In addition to the additions and the installation of the secured entryway, we were able to get some really good pricing on some additional work to be done. We did widen the ramps that go from the commons to the D and B wings in order to accommodate larger size wheelchairs if needed. We were able to repaint all the exterior metal on the existing building. That's not done, but a large majority of it's done. The contractor will be back to paint later on this year as the weather improves. We were able to repaint the soffits on the exterior of the building. Some of the paint was peeling off and flaking off, and we were able to remove all of that and apply new paint on it. We were also able to reseal the exterior masonry. If we don't do that, over time, the masonry gets soft and erodes, and we were able to apply an anti-graffiti coating on that masonry after we sealed it. We're also in the process of replacing a portion of the BPAC roof that has developed some pretty serious leaks over the past few years and will cause more trouble if we don't address it now. So we're taking care of that while we've got the roofing contractor on site. Next slide, please. So planned projects for 21-22. At Arlington High School, the remodel of the science and ROTC rooms, the track resurfacing. You can see on the far right-hand side, I expect to bring you a contract for approval for that work at in the science and ROTC room remodel in February, mid-February. Presidents, Pioneer and SVLC, the cameras, door locks, and access controls. You've already approved that contract in July of 2020. Weston, in addition to the secured entry, we're going to be doing some HVAC replacement work there. We plan to bring you both of those contracts in February of 2022, February 28th of 2022. And then at Eagle Creek, we're going to replace the floor coverings and do some HVAC controls update there. We don't have a date for presenting you a proposed contract yet for that. And at Kent Prairie, boiler additions, HVAC controls update, and traffic safety improvements to try to get cars off of 204th during the dismissal and improve pedestrian safety at the same time around the site. Next slide, please. So demographic studies update. Earlier this year, I brought to you a contract for approval with Flow Analytics, a demographics firm. And they're going to do quite a bit of work for us to help us understand what our student population looks like in the upcoming years, 5 to 30 years out. They're also going to tell us where they think these students will be living and what do we need to do to set our attendance boundaries to make sure that we've got a balanced load of students attending at each school. So we expect to have that work completed in February of 2022. And then there's some mandated redistricting of board director districts. They're going to do that work for us too. It's not due until November of 2022, but they provided a timeline that allows us to complete that work in June of 2022. So I'm glad to get that work done earlier. So that's my presentation for tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions for you if I can.
Brian, when is the redistricting due for the census, for the 10-year census for the school district boundaries?
November of 2022.
November of 2022. And we're going to use that study in order to see where they land?
Yes.
Changes?
Yes, we expect to be complete with that in June of 2022.
Got it. Okay.
So we're going to be ahead of schedule on that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, it's Mike Ray.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, can you remind me why the original planned expenditures and the current planned are so significant differences for Post and Eagle Creek? I know Eagle Creek, we're not doing sprinklers, but they're, Post is 50% and what Eagle Creek's 30% less, which is great. But what's the change there that caused that?
Well, Post, we had some traffic safety improvements that we have not yet designed yet, or have not put into place.
That's right. That's right. And is Eagle Creek basically the sprinkler system?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah. So, Mike, I just want to be clear on that we're still dedicating the money that was assigned to the installation of the sprinkler system, and it's going to be held in fund balance to do that work when it comes time for us to modernize Eagle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, for sure. Thanks, Brian. And thanks for all the hard work and everything. Yep, no, totally remember that. Good to mention that so everybody else remembers that as well. But yep, nope, I know we're all over it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mike, Brian, thanks. I just wanted to do a quick thank you so much for all of your guidance and hard work on this. You've been working hard. I've been to Eagle Creek, and the entryway is so beautifully done that you wouldn't even know that it wasn't part of the original building. Just a marvelous job. Thank you. And thank you also to the community for supporting our schools by providing the funding for this with the passage of the bond. So I'm, so pleased to see all of the work. Thanks.
Thank you, Judy. We're really happy with the way the entryways turned out as well. And that was a sentiment that I've heard echoed quite a bit, is that it looks like they were built with the original structure. So that's just a testament to McGranahan's design capabilities. They've done a really good job in their design work, and we had a great experience with the contractor that was doing that work for us as well.
All right, thanks. We'll move on if there's no other questions. And we're going to move on to item E under new business, board meetings, potential action, and Superintendent Sweeting. I'm going to turn that over to you.
Good evening again. We have been, as a board, talking about, actually for the last couple of months, about the right timing for adding the in-person component to our board meetings. Today, rather than bringing policy 1400 back at this time, I am asking the board to discuss this idea. And when the board has an approved timeline for adding an in-person component, then I'll take the necessary steps to revise policy 1400 as appropriate. Currently, an in-person component for our board meetings is optional, but it is required that we have a Zoom component, which we do have. That's how we're having our board meetings. Attached to the board plate is the proclamation by the governor 2025-15 that states that when you add the in-person component, we need to, as a board, during our board meetings, enforce the mask mandates. And some of the challenges with other boards that have gone to in-person, have added the in-person component, has included challenges with enforcing the mask mandate. So I added that proclamation there so you could see that it's a requirement. But basically, I open up this next few moments for the board to discuss, and if the board so chooses, they could take possible action. So the board plate and this agenda item was written with that in mind. So this is an opportunity for the board to discuss this item. So I open it up to the board members to discuss. And if there's no discussion, that's fine, but we needed to bring this back.
Let me just first by saying this is my second to the last board meeting, so I only have one more board meeting left, so I don't really feel like I'm, I won't be voting on this one way or the other. I would say that I had a fabulous time at the BPAC's play over the weekend. It was a fabulous show. It was well attended. Everyone wore masks, and it seemed very safe and was a great venue for the 100+ people that attended the show. I think no matter what we do, I think continuing a Zoom and recorded presence is kind of table stakes now. It has to be part of every board meeting going forward, no matter what, whether we're in person, not in person, et cetera. Having this venue and getting more participation through this venue, I think is very valuable. So that's all I can add.
Hey,
thanks, Mark.
Hey, it's Mike Ray. Yeah, I echo Mark's comments. Obviously I appreciate all of his hard work there, and I'm looking forward to in-person meetings. I think it's probably been pretty clear to the board, and I still say that I'm ready for in-person meetings to begin our very next board meeting on the 22nd. I think it's important that we do that. I'd love to see Mark at a board meeting for his last one, and Judy as well. They're safe to have, and I'm ready to support having those board meetings.
Thank you, Mike.
Madam President, can I share the same thing I always share? Our health district, the Snohomish Health District, put out a news release on September 10th. Dr. Chris Bitters said, and I'm going to quote what he said, "The health district also recommends everyone consider delaying or moving non-essential events and meetings to a virtual format. If it does not need to happen in person, it is in everyone's best interests to reschedule or hold gatherings online for the time being. And I did reach out to contact at the health district today, and he did say Dr. Spitter's advice still holds. And so I am not in favor of moving our board meetings, although I would love to see you in person. It'd be a lot less awkward. I'm not in favor of moving them forward to being in person until our case rates are down to a moderate level, not at this high transmission rate, which can be seen on our slides from Krista. Every Monday, we see that we're still in a very high transmission with our county. Also, I just want to point out, if you also look on the Snohomish Health District website, that the zip code 98223, which is what our school district and our families are in, has one of the very lowest vaccination rates, but one of the very highest case rates. And so I don't think it's in our best interests in Arlington to have in-person gatherings. I would love to see that case rate come down. I would love to be back in person, but I'm not in favor of it right now.
I just had a quick question too, as far as our discussion. So we were talking about in-person and going to a larger venue because of COVID. So if we were to do in person, we were looking at something like BPAC. Is there an option to ever go back to the district office to have board meetings? I'm just curious because it seemed like that went off the table, and I don't know if it's even going to be back on the table, or are we looking at a permanent new home at the BPAC?
Well, I've been doing some research on that. It's possible, just depending on the way you read the guidance, that we could come back to the boardroom. It's just that when you're thinking of the school setting, we'll have students present, and we try to maintain that distance between adults and the students. So what the focus I would like to be for tonight is just the right timing, and then I'll take care of the details. If, like, when I get to policy 1400, I'll again review what's required, and if we need to be in the BPAC, which seems reasonable because there's a lot of space, then I'll put that in there. It's still in there, right? I mean, hasn't been changed, actually. It says what it originally says. But if it's possible to do it in the boardroom, then safely, then we'll do that. So I think not so much the focus tonight is where, is as to when, the timing of it. But I will say, wherever it is, we will follow the guidelines. We will have masks will be mandated because that's a requirement. And I think as much physical distancing as possible would be necessary.
I have thoroughly enjoyed the fact that we've been able to have so many people attend our board meetings. At some point, we were over 200 at one meeting, and typically last year we were between 150 and 180, and I just am so appreciative of that. So thank you for everyone that's helped make that happen. I'm also in the same ballpark of hoping that these numbers come down and the vaccinations go up. I read through the whereases in the document of bringing people back, and there were 5 of those whereases, and one of them that I would add, I would make a number 6 and say that I would like to see the number of people vaccinated in Arlington rise, so that we all feel more secure and more protected. So I continue as I have, though I would love to see each and every one of you, and I'd like to see all of the people that are Zooming with us. I'm still going to advise that we wait, because our number 1 job is the safety and protection not only of our students, but of our community. And I don't want to put us in a position to be compromised with that. So that's my stand. It's been my stand, and I'm going to continue to feel that it's safer for all of us to continue Zooming. I also so appreciate the fact that we can go back and watch the board meetings at our convenience. There are times when I was confused about something that might have been said or something that we passed and what were the ramifications of that. And I've been able to go back and watch those Zoom meetings at my free time. So thank you also for that. It's been a wonderful opportunity.
I will say, President Fay, that at whatever time we add the in-person component, we will not let go of the Zoom, so the number of people I'm hoping that continues to increase, the number of people that want to, whether they come in person or whether they come, attend on Zoom.
I'd like to make a motion. And I'd like to move that we return to in-person board meetings starting November 22nd, 2021.
President Fay, I need you as president to take care of that one.
We need a second on that. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to, and help me, Mike, if I don't have it exactly correct, to provide in-person board meetings at our next board meeting on November 22nd.
That's correct.
Right.
Yep, our very next board meeting can be in person. Of course, it would still be Zoom. Of course, it would be optional to attend. It might just be Mark, myself, and Dr. Sweeting, which is fine. But I'd like to remind everybody that we're holding events in the BPAC and they're safe. There's no reason that we can't hold a board meeting that's safe in the same event with what I would imagine are many less attendees. Also, while Mary points out that Dr. Spitter says that the essential meetings, I would say this is an essential meeting, right? Our teachers are essential workers, our staff are essential. This is an essential meeting of the school board to provide a pathway for the school to function. So I would just encourage everybody to allow those of us who would like to attend in person to attend in person. And those of you who would continue to attend remotely, you're more than welcome to attend remotely and allow our choices to be heard, and those members of the public, again, who would like to attend in person, they can, and those to attend remotely, they can as well.
All right, thank you. I'm going to state it one more time so that we have it straight. It's been motioned and seconded to begin in-person board meetings on our next board meeting on November 22nd. And Madam Secretary, could you call for a vote on that?
Yes, Director Ray,
Director Ray's aye.
Director Kelly,
Nay.
President Fay,
Nay.
Director Levesque,
Nay.
Director Rawson.
Aye.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, I was not sure of Director Kelly's response. Could you clarify that for me?
Yes, it was nay.
All right, thank you. So the motion has not been approved, so we will not begin in-person board meetings at the November 22nd. We will continue with Zoom meetings as we currently are for the next board meeting.
May I make a motion, Madam President?
Yes.
I move that we wait to move meetings to in-person until the Snohomish County case rates move below 200. And that's the Snohomish County COVID-19 case rate per 100,000 for a 2-week rolling period.
Do I have a second on that? All right, so we will not move with that motion. without a second, and we will continue with.
President Fay, would
Yes.
Director Levesque please repeat that one more time for the record?
I move that we wait to move meetings in person until the Snohomish County case rates move below 200. And that's according to the Snohomish County COVID-19 case rate per 100,000 for a 2-week rolling period.
Okay, would you please email that to me? I've got the majority of it, but we can move forward. Thank you, Director Levesque.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll move on to new business. Item F, second reading and adoption of Board Policy 4311, School Safety and Security Services Program. And that goes to Ryan Lewis.
Thank you, President Fay. We bring to you tonight for second reading Policy 4311. Policy 4311 expands the scope of the policy language that formerly covered the school resource officer so that it more fully encompasses security programs that we may have in the district, including safety and security staff, which we have 2 up right now at Arlington High School. So now those folks will be covered under the requirements that a school resource officer would be required under or required to follow. And that's primarily that they receive training in a series of classes focusing on students in the law and caring for students in our charge as required by the law. It also reiterates the prohibition that a school resource officer act as a disciplinarian and leaves that responsibility to administrators within a school building. It also, since the first reading of this, we did make one change at the request of a board member, and that was to have a more consistent application of the term SRO in lieu of school resource officer. We replaced every mention of SRO following the first mention of school resource officer. We used SRO in that place at every mention following the first mention. Spelled school resource officer out and then followed it with SRO. We did not make any other changes to the language as it was presented from the first reading.
Thank you, Brian. Are there any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we delete some language from the from this policy. And so specifically, I'd like to move that we delete, so on page 2, so it's under law enforcement activity. It's the next paragraph down. I'd like to delete the entire paragraph that starts with the SRO duties do not extend to, and it ends with other government agencies. I can read the whole thing if people need, but I'd like to line out that entire paragraph.
Brian, do you want to talk to us about that, about the necessity of that paragraph or the need to keep it or not keep it? Could you help us with that?
So as we prepared for this meeting, we did discover that the language that is included, that Director Ray is referencing, is not included in the bill HB 1214, which defines the vast majority of the rest of the language that's included in the policy. The policy does reference, or the proposed language does reference policy 4310, which defines our relationship with law enforcement agencies, and it does have that language in there about immigration in our interaction with immigration authorities. So it would be redundant in terms of, or restating, I guess, as much as being redundant. It would restate the policy 4310 language as it's written right now.
I'm just curious, Mike, I guess is it because of what Brian's talking about? Does it feel like it's a redundancy in an existing policy that it doesn't make sense to have it again? Or do you not like the information that is being stated? I was just curious why you're looking at removing that language.
So number one, Director Kelly, so number one, I'm not a big fan of restating what's already stated in another policy. It just makes it long and redundant, as Brian said. And also, as I brought up in the other policy, I don't think the language is appropriate to include in our policy either. So having it twice in two policies makes it not as helpful for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So just to clarify, Brian, the SRO duties do not extend to immigration enforcement. That's included in another policy in another place.
So let me read you the language right out of policy 4310, Judy, if I could. So policy 4310 states, in contrast to the working relationships noted above, the work of immigration agents does not overlap with the work or duties of the district. This is because the district's obligation to educate the children residing within its borders is not diminished by the children's or parents' immigration status. Further, the district supports the federal immigration policy that directs immigration agents to avoid questioning and arrests at sensitive locations, including schools. Therefore, staff will not grant information or access to immigration agents unless and until the district superintendent or general counsel determine the request complies with Plyler versus Doe and other applicable laws according to the criteria in 3226P, interviews and interrogations of students on school premises.
Brian, you're the expert on the language. What's your recommendation?
I think it's covered in 4310, and it was not part of HB 1214. So from a pure language construction basis, it is redundant in policy 4311, in my point of view.
So do we need to make a motion, or does Director Mike have to do, Director Ray have to make a motion to have that pulled out because it's kind of stated elsewhere?
You actually,
I've already made.
yeah, you could actually vote when it comes time to, this is second reading. So when the policy is recommended for adoption, it could be with the recommendation of revisions that Director Ray has prepared.
Thank you.
So can we make a motion tonight to approve this with the recommendation to eliminate that paragraph?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion before us?
I can restate my motion. So I move that we delete that paragraph. I can pull it up again here. The redundant paragraph of the SRO duties do not extend and ends with other government agencies in policy 43. I believe it's 4311. I apologize. I'm looking in policy 4311. Is that clear enough for everybody?
Director Ray, because we're wanting to approve the whole policy with its revisions. And so if you, if you propose, if you're okay with the other revisions, then you would just say, I make a motion to approve this policy with the revision of deleting paragraph, that section.
Understood.
Okay.
Let me start over. I move that we adopt policy 4311 with revisions as presented to us to include deletion of the paragraph, the SRO duties do not extend to the immigration enforcement ending with other government agencies.
For a second.
I second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded to adopt board policy 4311, school safety and security services program with the revisions of the SRO duties that paragraph and ending with other government agencies. Let's have a vote, Madam Secretary.
Director Ray,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
President Fay,
Aye.
Director Levesque,
Aye.
Director Rossen.
Aye.
We'll move on to informational items and begin with the superintendent's report. Dr. Sweeting.
First, I wanted to say that I too joined Mark, Director Ross, in seeing the drama play this weekend, maybe others of you as well, the All in the Timing, a series of 5 short plays, and it was very good and well done. The students did a fabulous job. It was wonderful. And it's going to be offered again this next weekend on Friday night and Saturday night. So I would encourage you to go out and enjoy the wonderful talents of our students. Also this week, we have on Thursday, it's a day to honor our veterans. And so each school is honoring our veterans by doing, I believe all of them are doing virtual celebrations in honor of our veterans. So I would like to let the board know that if you would like to watch one of those, then please check the school newsletters. And then if you're having trouble finding out, because not all of them have been published yet, they're still working on the links. I talked to Gary Sable today, and they're still putting the links together, but they're going to happen and it'll be great. Also this Friday, or not this Friday, but a week from this Friday, the board will be honored as a board of distinction at the WASDA annual conference. That also means that next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the 18th, 19th, and 20th, the board will be attending, some of us in person and some of us virtually, the WASDA annual conference. And it'll be great learning. And then finally, I would like to read a couple of thank you notes from our students who received scholarships. My goal is that I'll read a group tonight, and then I'll read a group on the 22nd, and that'll end our thank yous from the group of students that we gave scholarships to last spring. First one is from Alexa. I am sincerely honored to have been selected as a recipient of the scholarship. Thank you for your generosity, which has allowed me to pursue a degree in nursing education at Boise State University. The next one is from Logan. I am really grateful for the support that you have given me financially. Because of this support, I'm going to be able to pursue a degree that will make my future have more potential. With this degree, I will be able to pursue my dreams of working on a ranch with a focus on rangeland management. Once again, thank you for helping me reach my goals. This next one is from, next page is from Savannah. I am deeply honored and forever grateful to be a recipient of this $2,750 scholarship. This more than generous contribution has allowed me to pursue my degree at Everett Community College and be the first in my family to receive any post-secondary education. I am currently a sophomore. I think this student, it sounds like they did running start before they graduated, because she says, I am currently a sophomore who consistently maintains a 3.0 GPA while actively working 2 jobs in my spare time. I plan on graduating from Everett Community College in June of 2022, at which time I will then transfer to a 4-year university to further my knowledge. I will use the skills and expertise I gain to contribute to the government in the future and make an impactful difference for the better. The scholarship has paid for a lot of expenses at Everett Community College and therefore allowed me to spend more time focused on my academics. Without this amazing donation, I would not be able to get the grades that I do or possibly even attend this school at all, and therefore fulfill my professional ambitions. Thank you for the support and investment in my future and enabling me to reach my fullest potential. And the last one for tonight is by Injury. The chance to go to college is not something that everyone gets to experience. The past 4 years of my education have led to my decision to give and have given me the opportunity to study forensic psychology at Arizona State University's West Campus in the fall of 2021. Being able to go to college comes with a lot of responsibility. The main one that I am concerned for as I look forward to my future is the cost of my education. I have spent the last 3 years working at the Stilly Diner, saving money in order to put myself one step closer to the future that I want for myself. There are some times that I have held off on buying something because my mom says that every $50 to $100 counts with this scholarship, and that helps. I am with the scholarship of 1,000, I am closer to being able to afford my education in the fall without taking loans. I am grateful for this scholarship, and I'm grateful to have been the one chosen for it. So thank you. Thank you. I think there was a little bit of an echo, so it's kind of interesting way of reading with an echo coming back at you. So, but wonderful thankfulness from our students. Thank you, President Fay. I'm finished on that part.
Thank you for sharing those. So appreciated and so gracious of them to take the time to share their thoughts and for you to share them with us. With that, we'll move on to Director Rawson for our legislative update and discussion.
All right, so General Assembly was at the end of October. All of the positions have been voted on, and you will definitely see all of them at the November 18th WASDA conference. I would encourage everyone to at least know what the talking points are. There's the top 3 that you should be able to talk to your legislators about and be able to converse with the other people at the WASDA conference about. So know those 3. And then going forward, it'll all be about trying to lobby the legislature, albeit it's a short 60-day session. So, there's less time versus 105 days to participate. But I'm sure that this board is excited about participating, certainly with the other 39 legislative groups. So hopefully I have a chance to network with a few of the other 39th legislative district board members at the conference. And I wish everyone good luck next year. I will obviously not be part of the board. I will still be participating a little bit here with the school district. I'm still on the facilities board and still doing the GAC stuff for STEM, and still the treasurer for Arlington Dollars for Scholars. So you're not getting rid of me, but I'll certainly be less visible. So, but I will be behind the scenes, and truly will always be your fan of the board and be cheering for your success and Arlington School District's success into the future. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll move on to comments from board members. And I just want to say I so appreciate all of the earlier comments that and appreciations that came from all of our board members. Thank you. But at this time, if you'd like to add something else that you'd like to share with us, this is the time to do that.
Hey, Judy, it's Mike Ray. I'd like to start, Go Eagles. Our Arlington Eagle football team is in playoffs. I had the awesome opportunity to watch them last Friday, where they dominated our opponent. And we get to play again at home on Saturday the 13th. I believe it's an afternoon game, but congrats to all the team members and the support staff, athletic director Tom Royce, and of course Principal Fish and all the students there. What a great job they're doing. Go Eagles, and thanks all the support to the band and the cheerleaders and all the other staff involved with these extra playoff games. It's just wonderful to have that and everybody doing well. Look forward to being at WASDA in person and seeing whoever's going to be there in person.
Thanks, Mike. Anybody else comments?
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you, Mark, and thank you, Judy, so much. I know it's been a short, well, definitely not a short year, but in person short. I think the only time we really got to see each other was at the graduation. But I wanted to say thank you, and it's been great working with you guys, and you will be missed greatly.
Thank you, Maddie. All right, if there's nothing else, I will be attending Saturday, the last night of the production, the Arlington production, and I'm so looking forward to that. And I'm so looking forward to an in-person place, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. So with that, our next meeting will be on November 22nd. And we need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
Been motioned and seconded to adjourn our meeting, Madam Secretary.
Director Ray? Director Ray?
Am I unmuted now? There we go. Yes. Director Ray doesn't want to forget the volleyball, cross country, track, and all the other sports. I apologize. I know we've been doing awesome there. So once we acknowledge those guys, I will vote to adjourn the meeting.
Great.
Yay.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
President Fay?
Aye.
Director Levesque?
Aye.
Director Rawson?
Aye.